Playfair Farmers Field Coalition. So this is clearly a case of the fox guarding the henhouse, a pure dereliction of your duty at the public's expense. It begs numerous questions that you continue to fail to answer. Why would you turn your heads to seriously unmitigated air and transportation issues? The air we breathe is at risk. Why would you allow our public safety to be jeopardized and not require AEG or whoever the owner will be to pay the cost? Why would you allow AEG to keep all the taxes, parking, signage, hotel, etc., when LA's economic forecast remains so bleak? Why would you support a project after a Denver billionaire, says screw Los Angeles after you gave him a deal that a sweetheart deal that no billionaire could refuse? The question, what's going into your campaign coffers at the risk of our air and financial stability? I want football back, but not at the expense of our city and our residents. I'm throwing the flag. This is a face mask, a personal foul. You are roughing the public. Your performance is worse than scab referees on Monday Night Football.
Good morning, Barbara Schultz, Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles, and I represent the Playfair at Farmers Field Coalition. Aside from all the unmitigated environmental concerns that other speakers have talked about and will talk about, one concern that I have is all the big issues that are being put off until after you make this decision. AEG says, trust us. We don't even know who us is anymore. If you look at the final EIR, they talk about a transportation management plan. It's got 2 pages of issues that are being put off for another day after you've already given the entitlement. This is a huge project that should not be rushed through. It's very big and very important to Angelenos. And as our only representatives, I really wish that you would put a lot more analysis into this and make this a real process. Unfortunately, I think this council is in violation of the government code 65804 that states that you have to develop procedural rules for these kinds of hearings. This is not a fair hearing. This was a bit of a circus, to be honest, bringing out celebrity athletes and other folks to talk about this great project. We need some...
Thank you.
My name is Malcolm Carson. I'm an attorney with the Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles, representing the Playfair at Farmers Field Coalition. Even putting aside the issues of the unacknowledged environmental impacts, the FER does disclose a number of very significant, unmitigated negative environmental impacts. They include impacts to aesthetics, visual character, view obstruction, impacts to artificial light and glare, construction, operational, project, and cumulative, impacts to air quality, volatile organic compounds, carbon monoxide, nitrous oxide, particulate matter 2.5 and 2.10 and 10, cultural resources, noise, construction and operational, project and cumulative, traffic impacts, operational, impacts to transit, impacts to neighborhood intrusion, and to solid waste disposal facilities, operational and cumulative. All these are disclosed as unmitigated significant environmental impacts in the final impact report.
The planned green space for Gilbert Lindsay Park needs to be made available to everyone in the surrounding communities. We need to make sure that it also be accessible and useful to the residents every day, and that it truly adds value to our community.
Good morning. My name is Susan Nakamura. I'm a planning manager at the South Coast Air Quality Management District. The proposed project creates regionally significant air quality impacts primarily due to the traffic volumes generated by events occurring around the project site, at and around the project site. NOx emissions are more than 10 times the AQMD's significance thresholds. In addition, the proposed project has significant localized NO2 and PM impacts to a number of residents and school children surrounding the project site. Exposure to particulate matter and NO2 can result in a range of adverse respiratory health impacts. The California Environmental Quality Act requires that the lead agency adopt all feasible mitigation measures or adopt a performance standard-based standard to mitigate significant air quality impacts. The mitigation monitoring plan has a number of measures to address environmental impacts. The majority of our concerns are focused on transportation mitigation measures. This can be addressed by changing one word, a word may to shall, regarding implementing mitigation measure B1-29A.
This is the kind of entertainment we do not need. I am proud of the fact that Los Angeles does not have a football team. Keep it that way.
Before our next speaker, I'd like to acknowledge and thank Mr. Steve Bing, a great environmental leader. Mr. Bing, thank you for joining us today.
I'm Becky Dennison with the Los Angeles Community Action Network and the Playfair at Farmers Field Coalition. As people have said, we put our concerns on the public record many times for the past year, and there's been very few changes to this EIR or the project overall in response. We probably don't expect much response today either, and it may seem futile in this festive environment to even be raising these issues, but the reality is you all are still obligated to uphold the law, no matter how excited people are about football, and this EIR does not meet the CEQA requirements. I just want to raise one big concern. This is supposedly the most transit-friendly and greenest stadium in the country, and yet you're being asked to approve an EIR that has significant and unmitigated impacts to transportation and air quality. Two of the biggest problems in Los Angeles will be made worse by this project, and you're being asked to approve that based on some supposed overriding considerations where there are benefits that outweigh these costs. What are those benefits? There have been no public discussion about that, and that's what you're approving today. This council has a duty to protect the health and well-being of all of us, especially Pico Union, South LA, and downtown in this project. This isn't just about football. This project needs improvements. You can't make the billionaires of AEG and the NFL richer without being accountable to us as well.
Morning, council members. My name is Eric Ades. I am with the Playfair at Farmers Field Coalition. Some of our members have spoke this morning. We are a coalition of community-based organizations, environmental groups, and community residents who live in Pico Union, downtown, and South LA in the immediate impact area of the stadium. We have been working, like all of you, like a lot of folks in this room for the past few years, to ensure that if there is a stadium that does not come to, at the cost of the lives and health of those who will be living with the impacts of the stadium for decades. Again, to make very clear, we are not against football in LA. We are not against folks getting jobs and going back to work. In fact, we are for all of these things. However, we just feel that this deal should not come at the cost of those who are most vulnerable, largely communities of color and extremely low-income individuals. We also feel that there are just far too many questions remaining to move forward on this project. For example, why is the city and city council members ignoring Mayor Villaraigosa's own vision team that he appointed himself, who have criticized the project design, specifically around the Pico Passage? And we also want to know why the city is hiding a study that shows the impact that these kind of big projects can have on affordable housing. In this study that has yet to be released, it shows that it could be up to $116 million, the amount of impact to the city's housing need that this project can cause. Yet the city didn't even require AEG to analyze the impacts on housing. At best, this EIR creates vague plans on how to meet its overly ambitious public transportation estimates. At worst, it has outrightly denied the project impact on housing and population.
I'd like to take a moment to thank actor Tiny Lester for joining us today, as well as Coach John Smith.
And I'm with the LA Right to Housing Collective and also the Playfair at Farmers Field Coalition. So this is supposed to be the greenest football stadium in the whole country, and SB 292 requires that of AEG. However, the over 2,000 living wage permanent workers who will be there won't be making much more. Won't really be making a living wage for the year, and they wouldn't be able to afford more than $480 in rent. These are rents that do not exist in the surrounding area, and if they do exist, they're being pushed out by projects like the Staples Center and LA Live, and will be further exacerbated by this project, Farmers Field.
Time the city councilmen do their duty and protect the health of those who most impact by this decision. The project should benefit everyone, not just billionaires. The very workers who will be at this site permanently needs affordable houses, and our existing community do too. We have provided a lot of information about why this project will cause housing impact, and all have been ignored.
I'm the Executive Director of Physicians for Social Responsibility, Los Angeles, and a member of Playfair at Farmers Field. No enforcement piece if they do not meet that best in the NFL around transit and the greenest stadium. I want to see this council actually develop some teeth to that. What happens if they don't meet those goals? The primary reason that exemption was given was that was going to happen. That is not currently in the draft DIR, and we would like to see you ask AEG for more specificity on how they will meet those goals, and further, how you will enforce those goals if they are not met at 5 and 10 years out of the project. You know, it takes a lot of things to make a community healthy, and we understand that. It takes jobs. It takes having access to housing and green space. It also takes good, clean air. This project will create congestion and more air pollution downtown. You must hold AEG accountable to mitigate those impacts. Thank you.
It's time for City Council to do their duty and protect the health of those who would be most impacted by the decision. The project should benefit everyone and not just the billion or millionaires. Thank you.